The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army. CBR Street Gang, this is all by standing by, over.
All right, let's get the microphone check out of the way here. Let me know if you can hear me across the various chats going on here. We've got YouTube, X, and Twitch.com. And yeah, let me know if you can hear me okay. Go ahead and like and share and do all the fun social media stuff for me. That would be great. If you are on X, they don't have a great plugin for the chat, so it will be tough for me to monitor if you are asking questions. We are going to get started here shortly. So if you are on X, go ahead and repost, share it, like it, follow, all that good stuff. Same for YouTube. I see you guys in there. We're going to turn the music down and we're going to get started here. Yeah, sorry, the music comes down kind of quick. The music comes down kind of quick because I don't have my fader hooked up right now. So using my mouse and I'm not great with it. So let's go ahead and switch the screen over here. And let's get rolling. Yeah, do all the cool social media stuff. Sure. Or if you want to keep it a secret, don't. All right, let's jump into it. Hello and welcome to Landy's Crypto Corner. Today is March 20th, 2024, and this is Market Madness Technical Analysis Wednesdays. This is our normal live stream that we do on Wednesdays, except today we've got a little bit more fun in store for us coming up in about 30 minutes. There should be an announcement regarding the FOMC rate changes, if any. To be quite honest, we're looking at Bitcoin here on the daily, and we'll watch as we head into that announcement here in about 15 minutes. But I'm honestly not expecting much. I know the market isn't either. Inflation is back rising again. Are they going to raise rates? Are they going to keep them the same? Or are they going to lower them? Really doesn't matter, and it hasn't mattered for a while. I know that there's a lot being made of this today because Bitcoin did slide quite a bit from the high. So far, we have seen a wick-to-wick drawdown of 17.69%. There you go with the meme numbers there. Had to get a 69 in there somewhere, right? And in this case, could it slide further? As I said in yesterday's recorded video that I streamed on X and YouTube, that was a recorded video. So those of you that were in the chat asking questions, I do apologize. It was just running the recording that was already pre-recorded from earlier in the day, right after the close open, coming into the Wednesday candle. So, in that video, I discussed a few different things. Last week, we talked about the meme, and it's not really a meme. It's the typical pullback that Bitcoin has been doing since 2023 after the market bottomed at $15,500 on spot price. And that's about 20 to 22%. Is that still available to Bitcoin? Absolutely. That would put Bitcoin, around its daily lower third standard deviation at the moment. Of course, that would move if Bitcoin did lose the lower second. We would see that push down. But if we were to, pull this out a bit, we would see that, around 22% would be the lower third, somewhere around, $57,500. Could it get lower than that? Absolutely. As I stated in yesterday's video, we had quite a few people show up for that video. I do want to thank you for that. And I do want to thank the Nat Monkeys community for invading that particular stream. Great community over there. I do suggest that you look into that. It's an ordinals community that is has the developer over there, which I'm going to butcher his name, but it's Ordinal Monkey Business. And, they have done a really great job with their DMT project over there. And I do want to thank them for hanging out with us yesterday. So as we kind of observe price here coming into the FOMC announcement, we can take a look here and see if anything has changed. Nope, it did not. So Jerome Powell's going to talk a little bit, probably say things that are going to upset the market and or make the market happy. It really doesn't matter. So we can already get a preview of what he's going to talk about. The forecast was keep the rates the same at around 5.5% or 5.5 basis points. So in this case, that has not changed. I didn't expect it to change. We'll see what he says and how that affects the markets by looking at the chart. We don't really need to listen to Mr. Powell. Kind of sick of seeing and hearing him anyway. And in this case, if you were if you were here during the pre-stream portion when the music was playing, you can see that there is the Bit Rioters NFT. Oh, I'm sorry, it's not an NFT; it's an ordinal, and it is by Viola Miscode, a brilliant artist who put a lot of Easter eggs into that particular piece that I did purchase with Bitcoin. And in this case, that piece is called Fuck the Fed. So it's very fitting for today. And in this case, Bitcoin is getting its lower term time frame bounce that I did talk about if it met certain criteria yesterday. And where were we looking for it to bounce to? Roughly, there's the big level overhead right now. Bitcoin bounced off of the the monthly. Now this is the monthly closing zone that it just dipped into and then bounced off of. Down here, this was the primary target, and then it bounced to where? Bounced right back to the monthly swing high from April of 2021 at around $65,000. I think it pulled up a little bit short of that. Yeah, 64,810. Now, if it does recover above here, it's not inherently bullish. It's more bullish than bearish, I will say, at least to test up further into this monthly swing all-time high zone between $65,000 and $69,000. But as I mentioned in yesterday's recorded video, Bitcoin needs to close back above $69,000 in order to be bullish again in my technical analysis point of view and in my opinion. So in this case, this is still bearish, and but it could very easily turn bullish. So if we do start seeing Bitcoin close back above $69,000, I would expect the upper first at around 70,500 to 600 to get ran, and then shortly thereafter, if that is recovered somewhere around the highs, $72,000 to $74,000 up here. If it does start closing above the highs, of course, it would be making a new all-time high and likely pushing that upper second standard deviation, which is coming in right around the highs at $74,000. Above there, I'm looking for $75,000 to $78,000, somewhere around where the upper third standard deviation on the daily currently is. And then above there, the 80 to around 83,000. Now we can pull a fib and take a look at some of those extensions. Now that we do have a daily swing high in, we did this on Monday to be fair. And now that we have a daily and closing swing high, we can get a good idea of possible extension targets as well as retracement targets and kind of where Bitcoin's landing at the current moment. But from swing to swing on the daily, we have the local swing structure. And then we've got the swing high to the move off of the lows, which is a weekly area at around 50,500 to 800. That was a weekly close open that was just on the chart before I turned off the monthly and weekly support resistance zones. And in this case, we can pull both fibs and kind of just see where things line up. So if the zero is lost, obviously I would be looking for things to head down a bit further, 57 to 57,500, maybe even 56,000 to 56,500, and possibly lower down to this prior consolidation before the breakout to new all-time highs. That's coming in at around that weekly wick high from 2022 or 2021. We can check it in just a moment at around $53,000 even. But in this case, Bitcoin sitting on the 191, which is just, roughly an inverted 888. It's technically it would be an inverted 889, but in this, or an 89. And in this case, the 191 is kind of where the close open came in on right around that monthly there at 61,350 or so. We did get a dip down into under $61,000 into that zone at around 60,771. Nice tap of liquidity right into this order block candle right here. Didn't quite run run the wick low there by the lower second at 60,000 to 60,500, but that's fine for right now. It could still get there. Bitcoin needs to recover at minimum above 66,127 and then take out that 618 of this current wick to wick move that I have pulled right now, and then take out that $69,000 wick high, break structure. That would, what does Crown call this? The herp and derp. Watched his video. His video came out after I had recorded mine, and it's pretty amazing the confluences that we have. Obviously, I come from much of the same background that he does, so we have a very good confluence with our analysis, and it's good to have confluence with the King Bara or King Bulla, depending on which market you're in. We are in, I should say. We're all in this market together, and we have no say over what the market does. But in this case, we can also pull a fib from wick high of the current all-time high back to the swing low. Now, this would be more of a weekly view. When looking at the weekly, we can see the last big swing low is actually down here. But for the daily consolidation, we can use this fib as well. We can see that Bitcoin is hanging out above the 50% and is now pushing back above the 618 and the daily lower first standard deviation of the Bollinger Bands. So in this case, from the daily consolidation, it kind of lands in no man's land in terms of swing structure on the weekly. But for the daily structure, we can pull this back out. We can see that the 50% was ran at $61,070. And, it could still possibly come down to the monthly area at around 58, and a half, 58.8 at that monthly support resistance zone for the monthly closing all-time high zone. I won't throw that on right now, but we will reference it right after I take the fibs off here. Looks beautiful. Still, there's nothing wrong with this structure. I would not be surprised if Bitcoin went up and took out the $69,000 lower high here on a swing and a close. That would be very Bitcoin-like to do and not actually hit those observed prior pullback percentages of 20 to 22. So it goes both ways. I wouldn't be surprised if the 20 to 22% pullback got hit or didn't get hit. Quite frankly, I mean, we've got a new player in the market, although we have seen the 20 to 22% with Bitcoin ETFs, spot ETFs in the market here, sucking up a bunch of coins. But, the longer that they're in the market and the more history there, likely going to remain with a large siphon on spot Bitcoin. So, I would expect there to still be volatility, but it may even get less over time. We'll see how things go. This move is still in progress to the downside despite the bounce. So don't get me wrong. This is still in the lower term timeframes below the daily, and even the daily, in this case, a daily downtrend. So until it actually changes structure above $69,000, we are looking for it to hang out and try to set a low somewhere around here, at least locally, maybe a little bit lower. Now, for this particular swing structure on the daily, it's all good. We've got the 618 lining up perfectly with our lower first standard deviation. We've got the 888 up there at the upper first. Now, of course, if Bitcoin does break structure of this particular downtrend, for today's candle, in order to set a low, it would have to close right back above the open of yesterday's candle, which is coming in at 67,609. I'm not necessarily looking for that to happen, but if it were to happen, today into tomorrow, we would want to see it set the swing low by closing above 64,800 or wherever today's swing high or wick high shadow, if you like, wherever that comes in. Then the swing low down here would be solidified, but we would want to see that followed up with a closing low. And the only way that would happen, let's say in a Thursday candle, would be above that 67,609. And of course, I would be in favor of Bitcoin, or at least looking for Bitcoin to try that $69,000 swing high, that lower high there as well, and see if it can get a close above. That's still the criteria for further upside to run the highs yet again and higher. As it stands right now, we can take that weekly structure again in terms of swing to swing fib levels, and we can see where things line up. So if you did miss yesterday's recorded video that was streamed, so it was technically a stream and a recorded video, you can see that the 618 is lining up with the weekly upper first standard deviation. And I did note that this is right there at the meme pullback here at around 21 to 22%. So lining up with 57,500. Now, could it dip lower? You can see that here on the weekly, the 50% fib is coming in just above the prior consolidation here prior to the move up to new highs. That's coming in at $53,000. And as long as Bitcoin is trading above there on the weekly time frame and closing candles, it can wick below, but closing candles above there, then I'd be generally looking for things to recover well and head right back on up if it doesn't do that before the weekly close anyway. Now, if it did lose the upper first standard deviation, you can see that the 382, which is if you pulled this from, this being a 0 and this being the 1 down here for the fib, you would see that that's a 618. We do have the weekly basis band coming in just below there. And I do want to call out, this is where we're going to throw on support and resistance again. I want to call out that that's right in a monthly zone as well. So, is it possible for Bitcoin to break down further and just absolutely destroy late longs that got in after the consolidation down here and even possibly positioned around that consolidation? Sure, yeah. But, Bitcoin's still in a very bullish posture from the weekly standpoint, trading above the upper first. If it ever were to recover, it's going to recover above the upper second eventually. But if it did recover in the more immediate future, this upper second standard deviation and that $69,000, then we're looking for that upper third, which is coming in at 78. So you'll remember just a little while ago, I said that if Bitcoin does recover above 69, I'd be looking for the highs to get ran again at minimum. Above the highs, I'm looking for $75,000 to $78,000. This is why. Now, there is the possibility for things to go further, hit into the $80,000 even to low $80,000 region as well. We'll take a look at that in just a moment. But if Bitcoin did lose the monthly and upper first, which would be, losing more or falling more than that 20 to 22%, then I would be looking for it to head back to this resistance that was flipped back into support at this weekly zone, somewhere around $53,000 to $50,000 or so. If that was dropped, you can see that it's still bullish on the weekly above the basis band here, which is now above this monthly zone that was holding price down for a number of weeks, even though we did see wicks through it. We saw that Bitcoin traded between this monthly zone at 45.5 to 47K. And of course, this big monthly zone down here from 2021 into 2022. So that was June 21 into January of 2022 on a closing basis, and even retested perfectly that 38,500. So, below that area, that would be dangerous for Bitcoin in terms of, more immediate weekly upside potential. We would be looking for a longer form consolidation at minimum. I would not be calling for like a bear market or anything like that if it did get below this area, but below there, then it's right back into this wider consolidation on the weekly. And we would likely see a monthly high put in and so on and so forth, but that is not what I'm looking for initially. And I noted this in yesterday's video, but the big area on the monthly that Bitcoin has tested in the past has been the upper first standard deviation, or at least between the upper second and upper first. And you can see how this support resistance kind of lines up with the expansion expansive posture on the Bollinger Bands here. We've got the upper third right here at the all-time high, or prior all-time high, around $69,000. We've got the upper second very quickly heading up to this monthly closing area. Of course, this is $56,000, so this would be a little bit more than the 20 to 22% pullback area. So you can give it room if Bitcoin does fall through the monthly or lose the monthly area at around 58.8, then we can start looking roughly around $56,000 to $58,000, and you could see how the daily kind of fell into that $57,000 territory with the lower third on the daily. But in this case, the upper second standard deviation very typically gets hit on the monthly time frame. That doesn't mean it's going to in this month, but it does typically get hit even in the frothy bull markets. So in this case, we have also seen Bitcoin drop below in its expansive phase, drop below the upper second into the upper second, upper first zone, and in some cases tapping on the upper first, which is all the way down there at 43,800. I would not be looking for that, to be quite honest, in this particular move, unless we saw Bitcoin closing below the upper second at $56,000 and then breaking through that weekly zone between 53 on the wick and the closes here, the bottom side close in particular there at 50,800. Now, Bitcoin's trading well above there right now, and that would not be my first take. It would not be to go test those until we see the conditions met at minimum on the daily with a close below 58,800. And Bitcoin's hanging out a little bit above there right now, just playing in between support and resistance on the longer term timeframes, or historical support and resistance on the longer term timeframes. And to be fair, there is some nice daily structure from the most recent run up. So we do have this nice daily structure in here with a beautiful order block that Bitcoin just basically ran and tapped on the historical monthly closing all-time high zone. So nothing too crazy here. The takes will continue to be all over the place for crypto Twitter, crypto YouTubers, and all that kind of stuff. I would just kind of avoid the hyperbolic takes. Understand where we are in the market cycle. We are in an expansive phase for the longer term timeframes, and we're seeing Bitcoin set up on some extremely long term timeframes. So like the monthly, we see Bitcoin is in an expansive phase. So typically, Bitcoin closes after closing above the upper third standard deviation on the monthly. It typically continues to close. Now its volatility is picking up, so it's not abnormal to see Bitcoin, wick to the upside, wick to the downside, and then possibly even close up there above the upper third, which is coming in at 69,500. Nice. Now, if I was going to equate what we could potentially see this month if Bitcoin were to drop the upper second at around $56,000, that would be very much like what we saw back here in from November into the December candle of 2020. You might remember that time frame, some of you. That was around when I think Tesla announced that they had bought Bitcoin. I might be wrong on the actual time frame, but it was not abnormal to see after a nice big candle push above the all-time high here, come back and retest down towards that upper first, in between the upper first and upper second. That kind of would put Bitcoin somewhere in between those supports at 45.5, 47K, and the weeklies there at around that 50,000 to 53,000, possibly for that daily breakout retest. That's still not the first thing I'm looking for, though. So, I know that there is definitely a case to be made, but it is all conditional. And we gotta have some perspective here. Yes, a Stoke is overbought in this case, but it can hang out on the monthly time frame for an extended period of time. If we do see the monthly close below 67,510 by the end of the month, going into the quarterly close, then, we would generally be looking for the possibility that Bitcoin, pulls back a little bit harder, but that would only be an initial cross down. We would want to see a close over close cross down in order to look for Bitcoin to pull back a little bit harder. It would still be very, very bullish though, considering the expansive posture. And when looking at BBWP, so when looking at BBWP, we can see that this is just kind of getting cooking right now on the monthly, and it's not even close to being critical. so this is looking very good. This is looking very good for Bitcoin right now in terms of expansion. And then when we come out to the 2-month time frame, you can see that we've got a beautiful expansive posture. Let's go to the index. We got a little bit more history there. Because, I've noted this before. This is the first normalization that we've seen for compression and expansion in Bitcoin's history. From 2020 to 2023, we've seen, Bitcoin started out with very high volatility, and then, the volatility decreased over time. But now we've got a normalization on the 2-month chart where we have a baseline where we've seen the compression phase of the 2-month Bollinger Bands or volatility come into the same level. This does mean that Bitcoin has had enough history to really use the 2-month for its expansion and compression volatility reads for price action as it relates to the Bollinger Bands. Now, in the 2-month time frame, we're not going to be closing this one at the end of the month, but it is worth looking at. If Bitcoin does close anywhere above the upper second standard deviation at the end of April, coming into what is it, April, May? It's March, April, May. Yeah, May. We'd be looking at really aggressive expansion of the Bollinger Bands to the upside. You do see a little bit of a pinch here. Not much, but in this case, it's it would be expansion to the upside, looking very good. We're already getting that read with the close above the upper first here and tap on that upper second. So I would be looking for a replacement. It could even happen, in between the 2-month close or prior to the 2-month close, up there at the upper third at around $82,000 to $83,000. So that's where we're getting above the 75 to 78, looking into the 80 region to possibly low 80s, somewhere around $82,000 to $83,000. So that would be the 2-month upper third standard deviation. And from the 2-month time frame perspective, you can see that the upper first is right around that $53,000 weekly resistance that we were just talking about, that Bitcoin consolidated at, wicked out at that actual wick high from 2021. At $53,000 before breaking it to make new all-time highs. Well, that just so happens to be where the 2-month upper first standard deviation of the Bollinger Bands is. So that would be that volatility level confluence right there. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful stuff. I was looking at some people's analysis today, and I'm really kind of shocked at how silly some of the targets are. So I'm gonna go through the quarterly here just really quick so you can understand the context coming into the back half of the month. If you just so happen to not watch any more of my streams or videos this month, note the upper second standard deviation. You want to see a close above here to kick off really aggressive Bollinger Band expansion, which hasn't even begun. This hasn't even begun. So perspective is everything. Bears, you might want to check yourself before you wreck yourself with some of those downside targets. But in this case, 311, or it's 300 to $65,000. It is reacting live to price, but it's got about 11 days and 6 hours to go here. It has 11 days and 6 hours to go here. And in this case, if we do see a closure above, we're going to get more aggressive expansion of the Bollinger Bands. That would also put it above the prior quarterly closing all-time high here at 58,787. I do not care about the wick. as long as it closes above the close open, the wick is the target. If it's above there, great. Then the next wick is the target, and that's at 69, almost $70,000 here. No, it's just shy of 69,000. This is index, that's why. But again, we see the upper third. Where's that coming in? $80,000. So, Bitcoin trades above 75 to 78. We're looking to 80 to 83, possibly more. Bitcoin could very easily go for it right after that. We don't know. We will observe and we will set those conditions move by move, swing by swing, close by close. In this case, we can see that the momentum pivot for Stoke is all the way down at 27,400 on the quarterly time frame. Very, very nice. And it has yet to kick off expansion on the quarterly. So for those that are already proclaiming that it's all over, and given like really crazy downside takes, you might want to check yourself before you get wrecked. But in most cases, people who make those bombastic statements are not actually positioned in the way that they are saying or the way that they are presenting in terms of their analysis. So, use discernment when evaluating some of these crazy statements that you're going to see. Even if, Bitcoin pulls back from here or continues. Quite honestly, you're probably going to get a lot of people going, if it gets above 69, it's going to fail at the high and it's going to create bearish divergence. And then 40, 30, $10,000 is the target. And it's like, come on, man. Like, that's not even, it hasn't even broken down from local support yet at the monthly. So it did fulfill the criteria, of course, at the swing high, all-time high zone, but that's it's already hit its downside targets for that. So now the next big criteria for Bitcoin to continue with downside to further downside targets, I should say, would be to break into the monthly closing all-time high zone at 61,350 on a close. And then we can start looking at closes below the lower second. Then we start targeting 58.8 and then possibly down there to that, 56 to 58. I would give it some room, basically. And then, that would be the average pullback that Bitcoin has experienced on this particular run since the macro lows prior from the prior all-time high at 69 down to the macro lows at 15.5. And then it would have to break down from there to go test 53. And even then, it would still be incredibly bullish on those longer term timeframes and probably wreck a lot of over leveraged longs in the market that are in swing positions, as it has washed out quite a few people in this market. This chart has not been updated. I will update this in just a moment. But this is the open interest chart. So I did want to draw your attention to this. Bitcoin has lost its markup relative to open interest. So spot price markup or price markup versus open interest. We have, price trading at in this case, price is above here now. But when I put this chart out for open interest, it was at 61,800 or so. And Bitcoin still had, open interest buildup of about, between 850 million to this high over here, which, is higher than where price was trading at that time. So it lost its spot markup is how I would term that, all the way to around, 1.85 billion, which was the close open bearish candle that was right at the top. So you have, between 850 to 1.85 billion of extra contracts in the market here at price again, or where price landed there at that particular moment than prior. So in this case, not that big of a deal. It's total contracts, long and short. So, I imagine there's quite a few shorts in the market as well, especially considering that funding has normalized. So let's go ahead and actually update this chart now. So I'm going to refresh to see where OI is and where funding is in just a moment here. Man, they got this stupid banner down here that keeps popping up. Anyway, let's go ahead and look at the daily here. So we can see that now we've got that particular markup is back in play, I believe. So let's go ahead and just draw a horizontal across there, right? And then we'll do one for the wick here. So that's kind of the zone that it dropped into. Yeah, I mean, you could take the close opens here as well if you want. So we can even throw that on there as well. I keep hitting caps lock. All right, so, and then when we come down here and kind of line that up with where open interest was, on the close there, it was at 15.51 billion. And in that same range, open interest just shot up, right? And then normalized on its pullback down to this low to around 16.5 billion. So we can go ahead and get that on the board here. So you got about $1 billion range. And Bitcoin, has held its OI markup. Now, when looking at where it's trading now at right around $65,000, it's now got less open interest. It's still got the same amount of open interest as when it was trading at $68,000 to $69,000. So, it has lost its spot markup, but we'll see what the end of today brings here, especially considering the FOMC rates. There was no rate change, so it's what the market expected, and typically we see a nice little bounce, but within the higher time frame structure, everything's still very bullish right now. So the bounce is for the moment, it's real. We'll see if it can recover back into the all-time high zone. We are going to check on the taker buy sell ratio. So we did have a pretty deep, we have a divergence in taker buy sell ratio right now. So this is another thing that I do want to point out that, could potentially wreck some bears here. So you better be careful if you're really bearish locally. And that is that taker buy sell ratio on the first low here before the lower high was all the way down at the 0.9 region, and it got very deep into like the 0.88 and below region, which is where I look for extremes, and typically results in at least a lower term time frame bounce, not guaranteed. But we did not see on this lower low the taker buy sell ratio slide down below it, so there is a bit of a taker buy sell ratio divergence. Is it a playable thing? No, it's a confluence thing. So you want to see that have confluence with what you're observing in price action. And right now, Bitcoin is pushing the area that we talked about yesterday back to $65,000, where it did fail in those lower term timeframes. So I did mention, and I got some questions after I streamed that recording, which is a weird thing to think about. But when I had mentioned, my criteria prior, when Bitcoin was trading back towards the high side, and then dipped into the swing all-time high zone between 65 and 69, I had mentioned that if 65 closes, that's when we're going to go see that monthly closing area ran. And of course it did, it wicked right into it. But I had taken a short at the failure at $69,000. I had mentioned that I'd taken the scalp short there. And then, I was looking for it to come down to $65,000, right? And I held that. I was taking profits at different levels. It came down to the structure over here and tagged it a few times. I took profit there, and it turned around and spiked into, after the close below on the 4 hour. That was the criteria, get a close below, and it already wicked down into this little order block over here on the top side. The next area to look for on that expansion was down into this structure here that was sitting on top of that monthly closing all-time high zone. But it bounced right back up, and when I saw it fail at $65,000, I turned that into a swing position. Now, I have since closed that. When it dipped down into the monthly zone, I did close that swing position. I was not confident that it wasn't going to bounce right back at me and take out, even though I was in profit and I'd already taken profits. I wanted to maximize the profit taking on that particular scalp. I usually do a 4-part trade with scalps. First take profit is to cover my fees. And then the second take profit is, to get some profit on that particular trade. Third take profit is the main take profit that I have for my main levels or targets to the downside or upside. And then I do what's called a let it ride. I put my stop in profit and then I let the rest go. That would be the last quarter of the size of that position. Just let it go. If it's going to fall further, then it'll fall further. Well, I actually ended up closing that on the dip into the monthly all-time high zone down here. And one of the big reasons why, and I'd mentioned this yesterday, that I wasn't happy with the volume. But then we saw the volume pick up as soon as it tagged in and around this zone into the monthly. So we saw a little bit of volume on the front run, comes up and starts to test the top side of the 15-minute bands here. And then as it heads down, it was low volume into that high rejection and on low volume, and then it slammed back down towards this low. And when I saw that higher volume come in and then sustain as it entered this zone and began to turn around, I did close that particular swing short position. Now, that was based on the 15-minute as it related to the hourly, and the hourly was also getting ready to turn on stochastic momentum right at a crucial point. And the other big point was the hourly did not close inside of this zone. So if the hourly closed inside of this zone, that would have been a bearish reclaim of the October 2021 monthly close area. And I would have probably held on to the position for a possible run a little bit lower into the zone, but that did not occur. So right now we are seeing the reverse of that. And when looking at the 4-hour time frame, you may recall from yesterday, I have I basically told you, look out for a low to be set, right? So at the time that I was talking about this, it would have needed to come right back up and take out the open, but you can see that a low was set on the closes. We had nice 3 rising closes here that got above the wick, set the swing low down here at 60,771, and has now, it's threatening to close above 64,380. If it does so, that would be more confirmation that we're going to probably test up a little bit further. We can see that happening right now in the basis band, to the basis band rather, which is coming in at 65,600. If it can get above there and take out this high at 65,800 or so, well, then we will have a low set with a higher low close trend break. So we would see, swing high wherever this puts in structure. It would be a trend break on a swing, but we do need to see it trend break on a close above that wick at 65,769. Nice. So above there, I would be looking for the 4-hour to test up a little bit further into the upper first at around just shy of $68,000 at 67,800 or so to 900. Above there, I'd be looking for a retest of this structure right here, this pin right to $69,000 there. If it did recover above there, then we're looking to the upper second standard deviation around $70,000, probably a dip back into this zone, and then likely start looking for higher low structure on a close to develop. So that's pretty much it. And the 4-hour, by the way, is looking good on Stoke momentum. 61,800 is the momentum pivot. This is a mean reversion play from the perspective of volatility, but if it runs and gets back above the upper first, and especially above $69,000, it will maintain high volatility and an expansive posture. So be aware of that. What else did I want to say? Oh, 12-hour. 12-hour. I did want to check on the 12-hour time frame. 12-hour, if it can set a swing low, it would be able to do so here at that 65,769. If it does close above the upper first standard, upper first is way up there, sorry, lower first in this case. If it can recover and close above there, that's sitting at 65,200 right now. This is in the cards. If it isn't already ran at that 65, almost 66, 65, 769 number. Now, if it does start closing above there and the lower first by end of day today, if it doesn't already go further up to test, I would be looking somewhere around the basis, which just so happens to come in at this lower high on a close and swing. So to kind of give it a zone between that 68,350 to around $69,000. So I would look for that area to get tested if we do see a recovery above the lower first that can push above this wick high. That'd be the primary area to look for, at least for a retest. And if it gets above there, then, well, we're looking right back to the highs. As you can see on the 12-hour. Could it fail at the highs? Absolutely. Not the first thing I'd be looking for, though, especially if it did try and break above $69,000. I'd be looking for it to do what I talked about yesterday, is get expansion to the downside. Find, as long as it's trading below the basis, and in this case, the upper first, it's still set up for a possible rejection and then come back down and test, somewhere around the lower first or lower second, depending on wherever it gets to. And the reason why I say it could test all the way up to bearishly retest the upper first right now, that doesn't mean I'm looking bearish for this to be bearishly retested and then take out its current low. If it were to do that, I'd be actually looking for higher low structure on a swing or close, or equal lows at that point. If it got up that high, because it would be a trend break, and then you look for higher lows. And, could it go back and take out this low? Yeah, sure. But if it were to push that far, I'd be looking for a retest of wherever the lower second comes in to the lower first as a wider zone. So we'll evaluate that, of course, in tomorrow's recorded video that I might as well stream again. I'm getting a lot of people coming in here on X. I think there's like 40 or 50 of you in there right now. So I will do a recording tomorrow to follow up with that after today's close, and into the bulk of the session tomorrow. So, oh yeah, that's what I wanted to look at here. This would also, wherever this sets a closing low, this would be a momentum divergence, stock momentum divergence. And currently it would cross back up on any closes above 65,800. So go figure. 65,800 is right around this wick high from this particular candle that needs to be closed above. I mean, swing will be set on any closes above 65,000 or 64,900 down here, but we need to see that area taken out in order for it to really get moving to the upside again, and Stoke agrees. This, of course, needs to see a close over close cross. So that would be an initial cross. And we would need to see follow through above the updated momentum pivot, which is likely to shoot to the lows if this does get a cross back to the upside here. So if it does close above today, end of day for the 12-hour, of course, in this case, above 65,800, we'd be looking for an initial Stoke cross back to the upside. Let me take a drink real quick here. Excuse me. Sorry about that. We would be looking for initial cross, but we would want to see follow through on the next closure. And when you get an initial cross, typically the momentum pivot shoots to the most recent low. In this case, it would be the most recent low on either a close or a wick. So, it'd need to basically close above its prior low that it would be trying to set. You will see most indicators like an RSI call this, if it closes here, anywhere here without taking out that wick, it's going to call it a swing low and a closing low already set. But I have additional criteria, and that would be taking out the 65,800 basically to go test up further. You can see the basis there at $69,000, of course, right around that high that it also needs to take out to avoid to avoid the head and shoulders play. And, to be quite honest, what have I told all of you about head and shoulders that have been here for a long time? In most cases, they do not hit target, and or you get the throw back to the head. So understand that. In this case, it did not, in my opinion, I think people are reading this a little bit wrong, but it's just an opinion thing. This is why I don't like pattern trading. You got a lot of people calling this the shoulder, the left shoulder, head, right shoulder, and then giving targets, a little bit lower than the support here at the monthly at that 58.8, basically coming in where the 12-hour and daily lower third standard deviations are, somewhere around that, 56 to 58, split the difference at 57, 57 and a half or so, which, could be a viable area, when you're looking at head and shoulders on lower term timeframes. If you are a pattern trader, I don't like patterns. I think patterns suck because they have such a terrible hit rate in terms of success. So, I would just stick with trend, support and resistance, volatility, and of course use these bands. You're welcome to grab these bands. They are in the video link in the description for YouTube, and they are pinned. The bands are pinned in my profile on X. It's called Landy Bands. We are going to be doing some updates to this pretty soon here to add some extra features like multi-time frame levels so that you can compare your current time frame to an either higher or lower time frame in terms of the bands. And then there's going to be some signals built into it as well. They're free. They will remain free. You can grab them whenever you like. You do have to add them to your favorites. They are not searchable in the indicators tab. It is private. And it will have a public release and be searchable when it is fully finished. So all right, I think that's going to do it for Bitcoin right now. What did I say? Did I say that I was going to check markets today? I kind of don't care about it, about traditional markets right now. I mean, I am trading. I'm positioned in some options, but traditional markets, hey, look at that. They're green today. Hey, look at that. That's a big old bull candle on the daily for Dow. We talked about this anyway. If it came down to the lower first standard deviation area, it was ready to turn on Stoke. It did so. It tried to cross back down, crossed right back up. Looks great. Getting volatility expansion, looking for new highs, right? Nothing new under the sun here for Dow. Looks good. It's making new all-time highs. Everybody's going to go, well, it's the FOMC. It's because they didn't raise rates. Well, sure, but it was also giving it away on the charts well before that. This was a high-level consolidation. We talked about this. Next big area to watch out for is 39, 39 and a half to around 40. So this is 39,630 at the 1272 to the 1414 at 39,800. So basically 39.5 to 40,000 points there for Dow is the next big area with expansion here. So it looks pretty good. When looking at NASDAQ, it's got a little bit more work to do, as does SPY. It's still in a little bit of a compression phase, but went down and held the lower first standard deviation area. And sounds kind of familiar, doesn't it? Anyway, we're gonna take a look at this for just a moment here. We've got a potential Stoke turn in the cards today on closes above 18,100. And that's looking very likely, at least as it stands right now. So it's getting a Stoke flip. It's pushing the upper first standard deviation. It's got the nice compression in the bands already after hitting the lower first, trading back to the basis. So, we're looking above the local all-time high here, or the local highs, if you like, because everything above here is just going to be all-time highs. Above 18,311, and then especially above, on closes above the high here at 18,416. We're looking for expansion to the upside. So it is looking as though that is going to come to fruition. I'm having a tough time saying that word now, and that's unfortunate. 1272, we were looking basically above 18.5. We're looking to 18.6-7. That's actually coming in around the 1272. And then above there, we're looking to around 18.9 to 19K. And that just so happens to be the 414. So looks very good. Also getting a Stoke turn probably at the end of today, Wednesday and a Thursday reversal. And I think the market's ready to say, go F yourself, bears. That's what it's looking like. That's not a guarantee, of course. This still is a compression, but if Dow is anything to go by, and well, SPY is actually doing much better than NASDAQ right now. SPY is already up here, hitting our target at 520. Finally, it hit our 520 target. Take it 5 points at a time, as I've told you on this entire move up. 525 to 530 is the next big overhead target. You can see that this is actually in a compression, slight compression here on the daily. Nice hold of that basis band as well. Closing above the upper second standard deviation at the end of today at around 519 to 520 would kick off Bollinger Band expansion to the upside. It would also achieve volatility expansion in a more aggressive way, which means that it's probably going to go higher and hit around 520 to 525. It's already hit 520, so the next big area, it would be by the daily upper third, which is coming in at 523, but I would give it room again to 525 above there, 530. We can take this this pullback or this pullback for a Fib pull. It doesn't really matter. If you're looking at the bearish side, you're looking at, guess what, 521 to 522 just above, and the 1618 at 524.56 to the 1786 at 526. So there's your 525. Two spots coming in at around 528 to the 272 at 531. So again, 5 points at a time is just going to be the name of the game for this. If you were going to do this from the actual consolidation range retest to the basis, you've got 1272 at 521 to 522 at the 1414, 1618 is coming in at 526, 1786 to the beautiful, magical, memeable 1888 at 530. So I would actually say this fib's probably more apt to, or more likely to play out. So beautiful, beautiful stuff. Nothing that we haven't talked about already. Looking at a Stoke cross back to the upside on closes above 517. It's already got its Stoke cross. We'd be looking for this to be a continuation of that said cross in the very strong half of the momentum setup there for Stoke. Also looking at this BBWP looking good. We do want to see it close above the upper second, get that moving average up and over for those continuation to some of those deeper targets. Again, for SPY, which I am trading pretty heavily on options, you know, I'm looking roughly 525, 530, come back to it, and then we can start updating those targets to 535, 540, 545, 550, so on and so forth, 5 points at a time. Let's look at Dixie. Dixie looked pretty weak. We noted this not too long ago. You know, on any closes below 104.26, basically 104 region, you know, it's likely to keep heading down and consolidating. Maybe it goes and takes out the lows. You know, I wasn't confident when we last talked that it was going to get anywhere close to 102, but in this case, you know, we're looking at this being a big old rejection right here. Closes below 102.82 would shift momentum on Stoke back down, but that's a little far away. So hanging around the basis at the moment. If it does close the daily below here, then the lower first is in play all the way back to the lower second around its current low. So Dixie might be in for a bad time if it starts testing that area and gets expansion to the downside. Then we can start looking at the wick low around 102.35 to this 102 and upper 101 area again. Below there, we're looking for a retest down into the mid 100s to 100 even, and then possibly that 99.50 area. Now, the lower first is currently coming at 103. If it does drop that area, and I'm only really looking for that if we start seeing Dixie trade the next daily and or today down below the basis here, which is coming in at 103.50. Then I'm looking to 103 as a generalized area. You know, you could see it wick down into the top side of this downtrend here. You know, that would be, you know, 102.92. But if it does drop that, then we're looking at 102.60, 102.50, right around the closing lows here by the lower second. Below there, we're looking for, you know, that 102.35 to possible 102 region. So if for some reason it holds the basis, comes back, takes out the upper first, takes out 104.26. We're looking at 104.5, 104.60. That would put it above the upper second. We'd we'd be looking generally for expansion up into 105 or so, possibly further into the 105, 40 to 60 zone up here. Nothing too crazy here. It's still got upside momentum above 102.82. So we do want to see this get a bear candle, get a nice cross down, and goodbye, fuck the Fed. Let's go ahead and take a look at gold. Everybody's saying like, oh, gold, it's pulled back. And you remember when we talked about gold and I said, this looks like a bull flag. I don't do patterns, but this looks like a bull flag. If you were going to call it something, it's a bull flag. If it regains the upper first, you're going to see it start to play out back to the highs. And what is it doing? It played out back to the highs at 21.82. I do want to see 2200 hit above there. You know, we got to 21.95. And then if you really want to make Peter Schiff happy, we'll get to possibly a move up to that upper second area at 22.30 to 22.50 or so. I would not be looking for it to push too much further. Could it push further? Absolutely. It could push further to 2300. And you can see that's by the upper third standard deviation. But I would want to see it get a little bit more consolidation or compression on the bands. Maybe it just walks it all the way up to 2300. That is one of the overhead targets that we have. Not my first take, but a nice run back. If it does start to break out above the highs, we're looking 2230 to 2250, and then we can evaluate 2300 to 2400 as potential targets for gold. This is going to be a momentum shift in the context of the overbought zone, but this is very bullish. Nice tap on the top side there of the overbought zone. Closes above 21.76. Will complete a cross back to the upside. Currently trading at 21.8154. This is in a cool down phase, so if it does close back above this upper first, you're going to see momentum and BBWP kind of disagree a little bit, but if it starts to break out back above the highs towards that upper second, you're going to see a shift in volatility. You'll see it come down really quick. You see it come down really quick and then do one of these. Now I'd want to see it get above the moving average, you know, and then go for it. But that's probably not the way it's going to play out for this particular setup. But I think you get the idea of what I'm talking about there. If you've spent any time watching my YouTube channel or sat in on any of my streams. So, all right, let's look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin's doing Bitcoin stuff, pushing up into that all-time high zone again, above $65,000. And let's go ahead and take a look at the chats here. So I do have the one chat I can see in front of me that I'm going to read off here in just a moment, and that is the YouTube chat. Got a few people in there. Got way more of you over on X, but nobody seems to chat over there. I don't know if they're nervous or broken. Or the chat's broken or something. I don't know. But in this case, if you do have any questions, go ahead and throw them in the chat there. I do want questions as that relates to the analysis that I just did. If you have any questions, go ahead and throw them in there. I'm not going to look at alts right this second, but if there is, let's see, it's 12:18 my time. If there is a little bit of time left, I might look at a couple alts, but let's go ahead and throw the music back on for a moment here. Go to the DGen 30-second chart here. Oh, look at that. It's a deviation from the high over here, and now it's a bearish reclaim. And if it takes out the low, it's going to hit $65,000. That would be 65,100. Then we're looking for a $100 markdown. Sorry, it's a 30-second chart, so I got to be silly. All right. I mean, technically that is the way that you could play that, but either way, let's go ahead and throw some of that music on. Stop stalling. Landy. Here we go. Throw some Emerald on here. Not Emerald Lagasse. Emerald, the synthwave song. All right, so we got some music on. You're going to hear the microphone creak as I move it closer to my mouth. Get readjusted in my chair here. Let's go ahead and read the chats. We've got, for the named people that I can see, we've got Baba. Hi, Baba. We've got Spin. We've got JR. Hello. Cheryl's here. Hello. Roka, Sam. Good to see you. Bobby's here. Hi, Bobby. And Don is here as well. Hi, Don. So we've got sound check. It sounds good. Lindy gave a fake video out on the fake video. I think you mean that I streamed a recorded video. Yeah. I just wanted to see, like, everybody's like having like crazy takes all over the place and constant posts on X. So I was like, well, let's just stream it, see what happens. And got a retweet from Ordinal Monkey Business, and got a bunch of monkeys in the stream. Gnat monkeys. Floor price is very attractive, and the crew over there is really cool. I am a holder. I'm shilling my bags. Pivot is right above the herp, right above the right herp, according to Crown. It is. Yeah, it's 69. It's not. I mean, that was the pivot yesterday. But 69K is the actual pivot for invalidation of further downside. To be honest, if Bitcoin starts to push up towards 69, it's probably gonna hold the zone. That's an opinion, not technical analysis. That is just my opinion. It's all conditional. Just remember that. We work off of conditions. That's why we're accurate here. And we're not just LARP lining all over the place. And, that's one of the reasons why, Crown has got his HPDRO and all that stuff that he's doing. If you look at that stuff, which is running fib level bands, basically, and as it relates to volatility, I'm using more of the triple band Bollinger Band setup, which gives me my volatility levels. And because I have a lot of experience with it, reading volatility as it relates to the bands gives me a high degree of accuracy when incorporating trend and support and resistance. And then we can determine momentum from there. So let's see. Dixie's dropping. Yes, Cheryl, it is. Hi. How are you? Are you in the server yet? The Discord server? Go ahead and join if you're not. Sam says S&P is going. I speak on oil. It's basically a shitcoin. It is. Just nervous when I watch Twitters. Yeah, I mean, everybody gets nervous and shaken out. It seems whenever Bitcoin's in a bull run and then pulls back a little bit, it just all of the internet as it relates to Bitcoin just starts going nuts. When it's nothing out of character, it's something that we've talked about. We're in a high volatility environment, so pullbacks are going to be, you can have entire, bearish consolidation, bearish downside moves and consolidations in the context of a bullish monthly and quarterly. So, I mean, like, not a big deal. Real problems would be, below 45.5. Then you're looking at a really deep consolidation, possibly further downside. But that's not my first take. It's all conditional. It's got to meet conditions to the downside. So let's see. Yeah, do all the social media stuff. That does help. All my information's free. Indicators are free. I don't have any paid shit. So if you just want to get updates on TA for Bitcoin specifically, sometimes alts when I feel like it. Yeah, go ahead and if you're on X, go ahead and follow me. Like, repost, all that good stuff. Obviously on YouTube, likes and subscribes and all that good shit. I pissed off YouTube. So I keep getting these bots that comment on the videos, like Promo SM or something. It's some kind of company that they don't give a shit about. It doesn't matter how many times you report them. But I guess they do. If I had to bet, they probably flood YouTube channels with bots for comments and subscribes and likes and stuff. They comment on every single one of my videos, so I keep saying fuck off. And I finally got dinged for it. because I try to report them and delete the comments, and it doesn't do anything. They're just back. YouTube does nothing about it. I mean, they don't do anything about any of the scammers on there, but this is a particular type of annoying one. They always put like crying emojis, promo SM. I'm like, okay, fuck off, smiley face. Reported, deleted, then it's back. It's like, oh man. YouTubers turning into trash. Yes, it is. It is. Hi, Miss S. I see you on X. Cool. Oh, wait. Did I get it working finally? That means that nobody's been chatting in there. There's got to be like 49, 50 people in there and no one's chatting except Cheryl. Weird. Okay. I wonder if the X stream is real people then. I can't see anything. Typically, if you log into the dashboard on the X side of things, you can see who's in your stream. But I can't seem to log in without major problems on the dashboard side of things. So there's been a lot of changes going on over there. So I'm hoping it'll get better over time. You would think if they were bots, they'd be posting all kinds of shit. Like, I made 1,000% gains. Check out this profile on blah, 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 blah. It's the same shit on X as it is on YouTube. And, or like, look at our EVM project on ETH. You know, the one that's just got a denial from the SEC. Is being investigated by state authorities. Yes. The infamous state authorities and the SEC are investigating Ethereum Foundation. Oh no, not our precious proof of stake coin. Yep, you know, proof of stake, piece of shit. You be the judge. Yes, so if you are tuning in and you're like an altcoin maxi, just understand that this, I am a Bitcoin maxi. And I utilize altcoins. I trade them, I own them. I load up on them in the bear markets and I sell them in the bull markets. I trade them all the time so that I can have more funds to buy more Bitcoin. So they are a means to an end to obtain more Bitcoin. Yep. If you don't agree, that's fine. Everyone is entitled to their own opinion, even if they're horribly wrong. Like altcoiners. Or altcoin maxis, I should say. Most people that are into altcoins also very into Bitcoin. But if there's people that are just like, nope, Bitcoin's the Ponzi, looking at you, XRP Army. Still waiting on that $2,000 call. Yes, I own a lot of XRP. So if you like XRP and you're into it, great. I own a lot of it too. Enjoying that drawdown? I'm in from way lower. I'm gonna make fun of it every fucking stream, yes. Because what they are doing is deceiving the community of holders. Absolutely 100% it's deception. And what started out as, you know, hey, been in this a long time, part of the cryptography crew that was getting these things rolling at a very early age before Bitcoin. Yeah. And then you went and tried to make yourself the banker's coin. And the same people that will sit here and tell you like, oh, we need to audit the Fed, get rid of the Fed, are the same people that are like, central banks are going to use XRP, man. Whoa, it's so awesome. Nassar Jassar, baby. It's like, no, go away. You're silly. It's going to go to 2K. Yes, Mr. Green. Come on in here. Tell me how XRP is going to go to $2,000. I want to see your chart. Oh, wait, that's right. He told me charts don't matter. They're just silly lines. because all of the central banking systems, fiat currencies, are going to flow into XRP, and it's going to be the cross-border settlement payment system of the future. But also, we're going to use all these other altcoin chains except Bitcoin to have privacy. Like, Monero is going to be the thing, and then all these other Bitcoin Cash and like all this other shit. We're going to use Stellar and Bitcoin Cash and Monero, and it's like, oh, but I thought XRP was all you needed. It's silly. Look, I kid. I do. And I'm a bit of a troll when it comes to this stuff. But look, I don't have anything against the coin itself. I own a lot of it, as I said. Now, I'm in from a long time ago. And I'm not buying more XRP to fill that bag. I have enough. And it's in and has been in profits, but it's been in the same damn amount of profits for years now. So it is the stable coin of the industry. I mean, we can take a look at XRP and like, oh, hey, look. Oh, this was our 2K line. Oh shit, I forgot I did this. So we're gonna show how XRP gets to $2,000 here real quick. Apparently, oh, I forgot about this. Yeah. This was the other day. So this is the big consolidation. We've got our double pizza wedge, our higher low structure. Is all it's got to do is just got to take out this last high and then this guy over here, and it's moon time, baby. This is how it gets to $2,000 right here. So up here you've got around $2,000. That's how it gets there. It goes like this and then back in time to $2,000 because you know, Donald Trump is a time traveler, which according to these people is going to implement all of this. And you know, we might see eye to eye on a lot of things, you guys, but on this, you're 100% wrong. Yeah. It's 170 was you know, this was 2021, right? So and then you've got the basically $3 wick high area that was never tagged. I mean, it's funny because I actually hold a lot of the same values that many of these people hold, ostensibly. I mean, from the outside looking in, I guess. I don't know. But they are a little bonkers when it comes to this stuff, and wrong. It's okay to be wrong. But you know, I've got a message. Got a message for you guys over there in XRP land, and that message is buy Bitcoin. Also free Ross. And if you're not going to buy Bitcoin, stick with your shit coins and ride them sideways and or down. I mean, man, there's so many other things that the army could have been in that would have absolutely allowed them to possibly average their positions down for some of them. But yeah, you know. No, there's people over there in XRP land that are actually logical, really good analysts that are also frustrated by what's going on. Yeah. So yeah, go back to your alt chain, buy BTC. We're just going to keep that one going. You're going to see this every stream, so get used to it. Yep. Yeah, well, no, I mean, where, I think somebody asked this last stream, where am I in from? I'm in from prior to the 17 run. So if you really wanted to look back in time, you can get a rough date for when I got my bags filled up here on, you can just take a look at the weekly. So this area over here. So then 2017, and you know, it made its all-time high. I sold some this consolidation and around the highs, but you know, I didn't get wiped out by this wick. I don't know. That's probably an anomaly. I don't know. That's Binance. So, but yeah, I mean, I'm in from very low. I've been in profit for a very long time on the remainder of that. You know, you're going to hear a lot of, okay, so on a serious note, is XRP going to go up relative to USD? Absolutely. I do think it's going to continue to rise. I think it's ready to break out. It might even be ready to break out of this longer term consolidation structure. But the silliness of XRP even over $1,000 is just bonkers. And this seems to be like a prevailing narrative within that particular community. And it's not, they're lying to themselves. So, I mean, you're going to get crazy fibs. We can do some fibs just for the hell of it. We can fib the weekly structure here on the swings. And you can see that it basically topped out around the 618,702, double tapped the 618, and then you've got more, you know, levels to the upside, 10, 30, you know, 36, $10, $36, 70, 175, blah, 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 blah. Could it absolutely go on a tear like that? Sure. Yeah. $2,000? No. I'll be honest. Army's probably lucky if this thing breaks out and hits like $10, $15. That'd be a gift, in my opinion. So we can take as a 95%. That's actually not what I wanted. So we can go with a regular fib, and we can just see where this is right now. It's rejecting the 618, but roughly, you know, you can just take the bear market from 17 to 20, and you know, if it were to break out, 1272 is $8, $15 is, you know, probably in the cards, maybe even 20, $30. But they'd be lucky if it hits this around the 1272, 1414. If it's going to push those areas, then it could possibly push higher. Could it be a $100 coin? Who knows? The market cap would have to be absolutely bonkers for this to get there, though. That's where I think that it's just prayers at this point. You know, the SEC stuff was supposed to be the big win, right? Well, it's more sideways. Yes, it's sideways and up. So, you know, if you were buying at 30 cents and it's at 60, you know, you're 100% profit. So, yeah, it moves just in an ever-tightening range. And, you know, if it does break out, it's probably going to be a big one. But not in the manner in which I think some of these people believe. Like, there's some diehards there, yeah. Let's go ahead and take a look here. No. No, if you want crypto quant, so if you're looking for quantitative analysis stuff, crypto quant's pretty good. There you can get a free version or a free login. It's just that you're limited to the daily time frames and you don't get alerts. But if you just want to check, like take or buy sell ratio is one of my favorites currently, to kind of keep an eye on for extreme levels as it relates to you know, the moves, and you know, how many, if we're getting to extreme levels of asks versus bids, it's gonna, you know, it's gonna be down here below around 8.8. It's gonna be extreme levels of bids versus asks. It's gonna be up there around a 1.1 to 1.2 and higher. Those are extreme levels, and then it has to match up with, it's just another confluence. So it has to match up with stuff. Yeah. Let's see. is it community? Yeah, so my bookmarks. There is the Bitcoin market cycles by Kyung-Ju. I'm probably butchering his poor name. Not poor name, butchering his name. He's not poor. He's actually very wealthy. I just feel bad for butchering his name. We're at a bull market. It is not even towards extremes. You can see the Bitcoin bull bear market cycle indicator. We can see that we've got the inter-exchange flow pulse that got a little goofed up back here on the bigger drawdown to that 38.5 level, but it did exactly what we talked about, got back above the moving average and moved up. Then there's the price prediction based on realized cap, which is a decent one. Ceiling price is currently at 104, so it's actually falling right around some of the fibs that we've pulled around 100. It usually deviates above. That's where you get like that 130 area. Supply and profit, we are in the overheated zone, but that's normal. There's a few others, and there's one that I'm looking for, and that's the I'm not seeing it now. I thought I had it saved, but sometimes creators can take their stuff off of the okay, he just named it. No, this isn't the one. I'm looking for their bands, the magic crystal ball bands. I think we can probably crystal ball. Here we go. No, I guess he took it off. But they're generally lining up with some of the stuff that we just looked at. It's free. You're just limited to the daily time frame. Yeah. I mean, there's plenty of things in the charts section. You can also go to the summary section and get a nice panel out view of everything. You can go to the data analysis stuff and see where the minor position index is and Pule multiples and like all that stuff, your exchange net flows, reserves, all the basics that you would normally want to see, like at Coin and Glassnode. Yeah. I see Don over in Twitter now too. You're all in the same. One of the things I do know is like the X or Twitter streams, the quality is not great there. It's much clearer on YouTube. Even after it uploads or utilizes the if you go back to watch the recording, the quality is not super great right now. Even though I am pushing a high bit rate at 1080p. So YouTube's going to have a higher quality stream. No opinion on that one, bud. Yeah. So the mining stuff, I will be talking about setting up your own node. Now, there's, it's probably for most of you, it would have to be a pruned node, but I will kind of walk through the basics of getting Bitcoin Core running. And, some of the specifics regarding it. But a full node, you're going to need a sizable amount of hard drive space. So about 650 gigs is probably going to be safe for a little while, but not long. I would recommend like a terabyte, maybe even 2, as ordinals are filling up hard drive space. Yes. Yeah. You do need specific hardware to mine, yes. And for most people, it's not going to be cost effective to actually mine. You can lottery mine. You can join a pool and do that. Maybe you get some. But it's more about running your own node and having full control over your transactions and your keys. Yep. And it helps secure the network as a network participant. So yeah, we can cover that. I know a few of you went and got bit axes, so we'll probably cover that as well. You can set them up from your phone. They have Wi-Fi built in. It's pretty cool. I'm a big supporter of that. And Nerd Miner is the other one. Really like them. There's a few others. There's a lot of really good projects going for pleb mining. If you want to get a little bit more advanced, you go for a futurebit.io. Go for an Apollo 2. Those are full nodes, or you can get one that just plugs into your PC and it can mine. Yeah. I don't know. I think they're like, what are they pushing? Like, are they pushing up to 20 terahashes? I don't remember. It's still not much. You're still in lottery mining territory. But for the cost of running a full node and then the power draw that it's got for what it's putting out in terms of hash rate, it's actually super attractive. Even heading into the halving, yeah. No, that's stuff that I'll discuss in like the Discord or something. You want to get like really specific, I'll discuss that stuff in the Discord. So if you do want to join the Discord, link is pinned on my profile. The link does expire every 7 days because my community is very small, so I don't get one of those permanent links. So if it is not working for you, just tag me and let me know. Yeah, but yeah, it's open to the public. You can just go and join, verify with Sledgehammer, and then you're welcome to chat. Yeah. Why? Okay, that's it. Why aren't you a bigger channel? Don't want to be? Like, I could chill hardcore and like, but no, I don't want to be. The bigger you get, the less shit you can talk. More PC you gotta be. If you like my analysis, just go ahead and share it. Yeah. I don't know how to take that. Like, why aren't you a bigger channel? Like, is it a bad thing that I'm not? Or is it like you are wondering, like, legitimately, like, why it's not, why more people aren't subbed or following or whatever? It doesn't matter. People come find it, and when they find it, if they like the content, they'll stick around. That's all. That's all that matters. Not looking for fame or anything. That's why I'm anonymous. You only hear my voice. Not looking for status or fame, or I'm not selling anything, so I'm not interested in any of that. But if it grows organically and people like what I'm doing and they into technical analysis, great, hang out. That's what we're here for. Do you want me to talk about more degen stuff? Okay, you must be from one of the communities. Yeah. Okay. Maybe we'll look, if there's enough demand for it, maybe I do like an ordinal stream. The thing is I'm not the expert when it comes to ordinals, and there's not really a good charting, because you could do technical analysis on them. Absolutely, 100%. Because measuring like a candlestick, getting a candlestick chart with volume, we could absolutely do technical analysis. 100%. So somebody has suggestions for that, we certainly could. I would break it out into something different though. It would not be my Bitcoin stuff, and where I cover Bitcoin in traditional markets and stuff like that. It'd be its own thing. Oh, because you think that it would help grow my... Look, I'm not really looking for that, but if it is something that's in demand, and it would have to be legitimately helpful, because I'm not in it to like sell shit. I'm in it because I love trading. And ordinals are my shit cornery this market cycle, but there's actually legit stuff that I'm never gonna sell, like real artwork, real pieces that I am not gonna sell, that are gonna be inscribed for forever, right? And then there's the Bitcoin flip plays, right? Buy this thing, number go up, mint this thing, number go up, exit in stages or all at once, or buy floor price and wait for it to rise, that kind of thing. There's a decreased volume happening over there right now, so overall the ordinal space is experiencing quite a pullback in its totality. I know that people are like bitching about certain projects, but it's whatever. The whole space is down. In addition to the whole space being down in terms of aggregate inflows versus outflows, you've also got these very large projects that have been launching and sucking up the existing liquidity. So people taking fat L's just to move over to another project to try and make it all back. And it's like, they basically are doing terrible trades. So, probably a good time to go in and look at the floor prices, see what's interesting, what's got volume, what's got diverse sets of holders, meaning that the holder percentage is high, not low, where you have the holder ratio is high, meaning there's relative to supply, there's a lot of holders, or versus few holders, big supply. So just basics, supply demand stuff. It's probably worth looking. I couldn't give you specifics. It's literally purely a degen play and a buy art for me play. Yeah, so I don't really have a lot in it, and I'm a trader. If I sold any of my shitcoin bags, no. I think I took profit on a few things here and there, but not. It's mainly like I will sell once we get a liquidity rotation into alts and they really start pumping, and then I'll start selling off those bags. I always keep a little bit. Sometimes what might be dust now becomes like, not dust later in later market cycles. So, yep, I load spot on. Yeah, I buy spot altcoins. A lot of them. I even own a lot of Ethereum, and yeah. No, I don't just buy. Sometimes I'll ape into random shit, but I don't really. I just don't have the time for it, or the space in my brain. Yeah. 30-second chart. The degen chart played out a double bottom. Oh shit, you're right. It's a W reversal, and then the Z. Thanks, Steve. Some of you will get that joke. Yeah. No, I mean, we're almost at 2 hours, so I'm going to jump off here. There's not much. At this point, we're just BSing. So if you are joining during the BSing portion of this stream, go ahead back to the beginning where I do some pretty hardcore technical analysis. But I would I'd venture to say pretty easy to understand technical analysis for what is happening with Bitcoin right now, and what conditions need to be met for further downside and or upside back to the highs and higher. So very, very specific conditions. So it's conditional analysis, and that's the way that it should be done. If it meets the condition for more downside, then we're looking for more downside. If it meets the condition for more upside, hey, above this number, we're looking for more upside. Below this number, we're looking for more downside, right? So it's pretty straightforward. No, technical analysis is not that hard. No. People make it hard. I mean, Cheryl, you could consider what I was saying about XRP earlier a rant, I guess. Somebody said, like, you're just ranting because you've been holding it for so long. Maybe I'm just bitter. It's been going sideways for so long. I mean, I'm still holding on to that freaking bag. For a very, it's in a lot of profit. I could cut my losses, but why? Like, at this point, why? Like, who cares? Doesn't even matter anymore. If number goes up, hey, I've got some extra liquidity I can get out of this. Nice. Yeah. Yeah. Hey, Cheryl, you remember when we were talking about $20 SOL and it had to hold it? Wasn't that nice? When it held it? That was a little while ago, huh? I took that trade, by the way. Back here. Yeah. Off that weekly lower first. Held the basis. Boom, I took that swing trade. I took it up to like the 100 to 115 area. And then I let that, I closed it, and I should have reloaded it. Instead, I got into scalps on it, and I've been scalping it. Yeah. I mean, look at how beautifully it's been playing level to level since even the last time we talked about it in depth during this consolidation. The rejection down here, the red line that it couldn't cross. So now here's some context for how long you've been hanging out with us. Yeah. Yeah, I know. Bitcoin pushing up to that 66K area. I told everybody, gotta be careful. It's gotta meet the conditions to the downside. Otherwise, it's gonna go back up, but it still has to meet the conditions to the upside. So don't get too excited until it's time to be excited. And that's when the condition is met. I do love I love when it tags previous areas of higher term time frame support or resistance. It's the best plays in combination with trend and volatility levels. It's some of the best plays that you'll get in the game. I have instructions on how to use the indicator. I should probably do an instructions video, huh? Like a dedicated Landy Bands video. You guys will have to let me know if you think that that is valuable, or if you just want to kind of make your own way with it. You're more than welcome to. It's got a ton of customization built in, and it's going to have more going forward. But yeah, okay. I think that's a good suggestion. I can make a Landy Bands video, so if you are interested, I will do so. No, I think that's going to do it for today. It's almost 1 o'clock my time. I need to go eat some lunch. Yeah, the Fed meeting was a big dud. Nothing really crazy there, right? Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of you over here on X. If you are on X and you're not following me, go ahead and follow me. Then you'll get notified of when my streams go live. If you want better video quality, though, I would suggest you head on over to YouTube. It is linked in my bio on X. You should share it with the rest of the NBO community. I could ask Loki, but I'm not. It's his space. It's not. I asked the monkeys because they voluntarily shared it. And I said, like, hey, can I share it here as well? Yeah, no problem. But yeah, no, I'm not interested in stepping on people's communities without them approaching me. If they're interested, they'll let me know, right? It's not I don't go and shill my content. There's no reason for it. It'll find the right people. Also, I kind of like that nobody knows about me. Nobody knows about this analysis. Let's keep it that way. It's our little secret. All 54 of us here. Or 60 something of us here. There's more. Oh, there's people on Twitch. I guess there's like 70 or 80 of us. Well, I do appreciate everybody hanging out with me today. That's going to do it for me. I am going to leave the stream up for those that like to listen to a little bit of music while they chart after the fact. We are going to set the timer for... We'll set it for 15 minutes, so we'll let this run for 15 minutes. So 13:15. And yeah, well, it's a little less than 15 minutes. But yeah, we'll revisit a lot of what we talked about. I will revisit with you watching me or watching my chart in recorded format tomorrow after market close. So it would be the close of the Thursday candle and start of the Friday candle, but it will be tomorrow, Thursday, that I should have a Staring at Charts pre-recorded video. I will stream it here again on X, but it won't be, I'll just be sitting in chat, listening to myself apparently, and evaluating like how good or bad the streaming is on X. And then from there, I will follow up with a later live stream on Friday. So it is going to be a late one. I do have, for those of you that know me, my son is disabled and the Special Olympics are on Friday. So I'm going to be there assisting with the Special Olympics. So, yeah, that's going to be it. Later stream on Friday, I will let you know ahead of time when about I will be getting the stream up and going. So there is a little bit of forewarning. But other than that, you have a wonderful one. Thank you for hanging out. You have a wonderful morning, afternoon, and evening, no matter where you are in the world. Please trade safe. And of course, as always, stay safe. All of that being said, Landy out.
The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army.
CBR Street Gang, this is